Welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the 30th of November 2017. It is the last day of November. Tomorrow is December. And your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer.
We're going to begin the day with our weather. Remember, again, we're on Thursday today. This is the last day of November 2017, November 30th. Your weather. Today we're going to be partly sunny. We're going to have a high of 69. Tonight, it's only going to drop to 50. We're going to be having some clouds and a shower or two late. We need some rain. Friday, high of 65, a low of 40. It's going to be nice on Friday with clouds and sun. Saturday, it's going to be a little chillier. Going to have a high of 58, a low of 38. Intervals of clouds and sun. And Sunday, we'll have a high of 66, a low of 37, very sunny, no clouds, and comfortable. Monday, have a high of 64, a low of 42, partly sunny and pleasant. Tuesday, it's going to be really warm, high of 73, yes, that's 73 on Tuesday, with a low of 47, but we might have a shower, mostly cloudy and warm. And Wednesday, high of 61, a low of 40, and an afternoon thunderstorm is possible. Alright, if you want to know when the sun comes up, let's talk about our friends the sun and the moon. Sunrise today was at 7:04 a.m. and the sunset tonight will be at 5:04. That's right, the sunset is at 5:04. We will have a full moon on December 3rd, and the last full moon was on December 10th. Now the moonrise today is at 3:55, and the moon set today will be at 4:27. We have a new moon on December 18th and the first moon on December 26th. Now on Friday, the sunrise will be at 7:05. You notice that's 1 minute later. And the sunset on Friday will be at 5:04. Okay, folks, that's the weather for today. You have a beautiful day, partly sunny, with a high of 69. No rain in the forecast today.
Nancy, was that moonrise in the afternoon or in the morning? When is that? Is that a PM or an AM moonrise?
It's a PM.
What time was that?
Moonrise today is at 3:55 p.m. and the moon set today at 4:27 a.m.
Ah, okay. Well, today in history, today is Thursday, the 30th of November, the 334th day of 2017. There are 31 days left in the year 2017. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Today's highlight: on November 30th, 1835, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, better known as Mark Twain, was born in Florida, Missouri. In 1782, the United States and Britain signed preliminary peace articles in Paris for ending the Revolutionary War for the United States. The Treaty of Paris was signed in September 1783. On today's date, in 1803, Spain completed the process of ceding Louisiana to France, which had sold it to the United States of America. On today's date, in 1939, the Winter War began as Soviet troops invaded Finland. The conflict ended the following March with a Soviet victory. On today's date in 1954, Ann Elizabeth Hodges of Oak Grove, Alabama, was slightly injured when an 8.5-pound chunk of a meteor crashed through the roof of her house, hit a radio cabinet, then struck her as she lay napping on a couch. Amazing. On today's date in 1966, the former British colony of Barbados became independent. On today's date in 1977, Bing Crosby's final Christmas special, Bing Crosby's Merry Old Christmas, aired on CBS. And finally, on today's date in 1982, the Michael Jackson album Thriller was released by Epic Records. And today's birthdays. Adelaide Clemens is 28 years old today. She is an actress. Actress Rebecca Rittenhouse is 29. Actress Christelle Kalalil is 30. Model Chrissy Teigen is 32. Actress Kaylee Cuoco is 32. Actress Elijah Cuthbert is 35. Actor Billy Lush is 36. Singer Clay Aiken, he's 39 today. Music producer Steve Aoki is 40. Actress Sandra Oh is 47. Rock musician Mike Stone is 48. Actor-director Ben Stiller is 52. Rapper Jalil Houdini is 54. Former football and baseball player Bo Jackson is 55. Comedian Colin Mokri is 60. Rock musician John Ashton of the Psychedelic Furs is 60. Historian Michael Beschloss is 62. Singer Billy Idol, he's 62. Country singer Jeannie Kendall is 63. Musician Shugi Otis is 64. Actor Mandy Patinkin is 65. David Mamet is 70. Rock musician Roger Glover of the Deep Purple is 72. Movie writer-director Terrence Malick is 74. Movie director Ridley Scott is 80. Country singer recording executive Jimmy Bowen is 80. And wrapping it all up is G. Gordon Liddy. He is 87 years old today.
All right, let's look at Live Wire by the Observer staff. And this is some interesting information on the television programs. WNCN, change November 1st, shifts viewing lineup. This article is written by Paul Wolverton, and Livewire is here to answer your questions of general interest in consumer topics. The question is, I am a CenturyLink subscriber, and I noticed that Channel 18, which is WNCN-D Tango T2, used to carry TV programs like Hazel, Father Knows Best, Dennis the Menace, and All in the Family, just to name a few. However, those programs are no longer carried. I am unable to find them on other stations on the CenturyLink listings. Can you offer an explanation about what happened to them? I really enjoyed watching all those old shows from the past. And this is from MC in Fayetteville. The answer, WNCN-DT2, Channel 18 on your CenturyLink Prism TV lineup. Drop the antenna TV network that carried your favorite TV shows on November 1st. Television blogger Brooke Kane of the News and Observer reported. WNCN-DT2 now carries the Justice Network on that channel. broadcasting shows about crimes. It appears that antenna TV is no longer available around here via cable TV. For classic TV shows, MC, check out Cozy TV on WRAL-DT2, Channel 6 on your prison TV lineup, and the Western-oriented Grit TV on WNCN-DT3, Channel 19 on the lineup. If you are determined to get antenna TV back in your home, you might try plugging an old-school TV antenna into your television. Over-the-air Channel 13.2, which is one of South Carolina TV station WBTW's channels, is an antenna TV affiliate. WBTW's transmitter is about 50 miles southwest of Fayetteville. Your LiveWire correspondent has experimented with a small rabbit ear antenna and sometimes was able to tune in WBTW. A larger antenna, oriented properly and with an amplifier to boost the signal, might pick up a station more reliably. And this was by Paul Wolverton. You may contact Paul Livewire at FayeObserver.com, or you can call Paul at 486-3516.
And for your public safety today, in Cumberland County, there were several arrests made. Jarvis Jermaine Williams, Jr., age 23, of the 4400 block of Kinkead Court, was charged Wednesday with 4 counts of selling and delivering heroin, 3 counts each of maintaining a drug dwelling or vehicle, and possession with the intent to sell and deliver a counterfeit substance, and 2 counts of possessing with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver heroin. Jarvis Jermaine Williams's bail was set at $25,000. Zyquis Raheem Lewis McNair, age 19, of the 100 block of Sheila Drive in Parkton, was charged Wednesday with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury, and conspiracy. Zyquis Raheem Lewis McNair's bail was set at $70,000. Tamier Ahmad Haygood, age 24, of the 6400 block of Sudbury Drive, was charged Wednesday with common law robbery, possessing stolen property, and trafficking in marijuana. Tamier Ahmad Haygood, his bail was set at $145,000. Cortez Shadike Robinson, age 17, of the 800 block of March Banks Place in Hope Mills, was charged Wednesday with receiving or transferring stolen vehicles. Cortez Shadike Robinson, his bail was set at $7,500. Carl Deb Lindrew Johnson, age 31, of the 1400 block of Tangora Lane, was charged Wednesday with breaking and entering, larceny, and fraud. Carl Deb Lindrew Johnson, his bail was set at $41,500. And finally, wrapping up public safety, is Darian Karif Shaw, age 21, of the 100 block of Audubon Drive in Rayford. He was charged Wednesday with larceny from person. Darian Karif Shaw's bail was set at $5,000. And there was a gas leak that sent a woman to the hospital. High levels of carbon monoxide inside a home in the Cottonade subdivision off Yadkin Road sent a woman to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. The Fayetteville Fire Department said firefighters were called to the home at 5827 Weatherford Road at the corner of Hallmark Road at 1:50 p.m. on Wednesday after receiving a report of smoke inside the residence. A fire department release said no smoke was visible when firefighters arrived, but upon entering the house, the firefighters found elevated levels of carbon monoxide, which is a colorless, odorless gas that can be fatal. Carbon monoxide fumes are emitted from vehicles, small engines, fireplaces, gas ranges, and furnaces, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website. The carbon monoxide gas can build up inside a building or house and poison humans and animals inside if they inhale it for a prolonged period of time. Carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms include headache, dizziness, weakness, upset stomach, vomiting, and chest pain, said the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Inhaling a large amount may cause a person to pass out. People who are sleeping or drunk can die from carbon monoxide poisoning before they have the symptoms, the website said. Firefighters were still working Wednesday afternoon to find the source of the leak, the release said. There was no update on the woman's condition. Nancy?
Daybreak. Number 1, what do you need to know? Senior Democrats meet and greet. Cumberland County Senior Democrats have a meet and greet event on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. at Fire Station number 15, 8434 Cliffdale Road. All Democrats are welcome, particularly residents in the western part of Fayetteville and Cumberland County. Come out and meet some local representatives. For more information, call 624-6516 or visit FayettevilleCD@gmail.com. No RSVP is necessary. Number 2, we have a Festival of Trees this Sunday from 1 to 5 and Monday and Tuesday from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Osterneck Auditorium, 102 North Chestnut Street in Lumberton. The annual benefit for Southeastern Hospice features decorated themed trees, fresh baked goods, crafts, and gift items. Admission is $3 for adults, $2 for seniors and older children. Children under 12 admitted free. For more information, call 671-5007. Clash of the Carriers through February 4th at the Airborne and Special Operations Museum. On loan from the Australian National Maritime Museum. Clash of the Carriers, the Battle of the Coral Sea, highlights 4 days in May 1942 that changed naval warfare forever. Video content includes interviews with American and Australian veterans of the battle. Free. The museum is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it's open Sunday, noon to 5 p.m. For more information, call 643-2773. And number 4, we have a Plant Appreciation Walking Group, Fridays from 3 to 4:30 p.m. at Clark Park, 631 Sherman Drive. This is ideal for adults and children 12 years and older. It's free. For information about this, call 433-1579.
And in the news, a missing Florida teenager was spotted in Fayetteville. This was written by Nancy McCleary. A Florida high school soccer player who has been missing since last Saturday was spotted in Fayetteville on Sunday at a pawn shop, authorities said. Caitlin Frasina, age 17, of Lake City, Florida, was seen on surveillance video in Fayetteville with Rion Rodriguez, age 27, according to the Gainesville Sun newspaper. Rion Rodriguez coached the boys' soccer team at the school where Caitlin Frasina plays on the girls' soccer team, which is coached by her father. Rion Rodriguez has been suspended. No kidding. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office in Florida has tracked the two along the East Coast through an 8-team withdrawal in Georgia and surveillance video in South Carolina and North Carolina. Photos from the video were released Wednesday during a news conference, according to the Gainesville Sun newspaper. Fayetteville Police Sergeant Sean Streetpay referred questions to Florida authorities. Investigators did not identify the pawn shop where Caitlin Frasina was spotted. A nationwide bulletin was issued saying the two may be traveling north in a 2001 red Mercury Sable with a Florida tag number Z04CSC. That's Zulu 04 Charlie Sierra Charlie, the Gainesville Sun reported. On Wednesday, Caitlin Frasina's father pleaded with his daughter on Facebook to get in touch with the family. I do not have many words to say. Please call us. I know you are not a little kid. In fact, I know that you are 17 years old. We want to hear your voice and make sure that you are in a good place with someone who will truly be able to care for you, wrote Caitlin Frasina's father. That is the news, breaking news, about the missing Florida teenager that was spotted in Fayetteville.
Going to the local and state, we have a change. The swearing-in reception site changes, saving you and I, the taxpayers. This was written by Monica Venetuoli. Mayor-elect Mitch Colvin has decided to move the location of the City Council inauguration reception Monday back to Fayetteville State University's J.W. Seabrook Auditorium foyer from the university's Student Center. The move will save taxpayers $1,500, will bring the cost of the event down to about $4,700, Colvin said. Catering makes up most of the event's costs now, at about $3,800. Total cost is less than half of $10,300 that the city spent on the 2015 swearing-in celebration at Fayetteville State University. The cost of that event drew from the general public and some elected officials. It drew fire. There's something missing from this sentence. Cost of the December 4th inauguration also was the topic of heated debate during a city council dinner meeting Monday night. Colvin said the city staff recommended moving the reception to the Student Center due to capacity concerns. City staff expects more people to attend the inauguration and the reception following it due to the amount of turnover on City Council. Colvin said he received a verbal cost estimate from the university of $1,500 for the Student Center, which would have increased the total cost of the event to around $6,200. However, Colvin said when he received the written contract, the cost of having the reception at the Student Center came out to be around $2,900. I cannot support spending that amount of money for the additional space. Colvin said it's not a good use of taxpayer dollars. The topic originally came up at the dinner meeting because Councilman Bill Crisp mentioned he had heard some criticisms of the venue change. Councilman Jim Arp strongly opposed having a reception funded by taxpayers at the meeting and continued to do so on Wednesday. "I'm not for the spending of taxpayer money on parties," Arp said. "We are still spending too much money." Arp said he wishes the swearing-in ceremony occurred at a city-owned property and that city council members could take their supporters to parties they fund themselves afterward. "I think we should get sworn in at City Hall with some cake and punch," Arp said. Now you can write staff writer Monica Venituoli at mvenituoli@fayeobserver.com, or you can call Monica at 486-3596.
Here we have a homeless man that has been charged with murder. This article was written by Nancy McCleary. A homeless man is accused of killing a woman who was found dead in a Fayetteville hotel on Monday. Takise Gillians, age 19, was charged Wednesday with first-degree murder and common-law robbery in the death of Alyssa Mota, age 23, of Lake Ridge Drive in Fayetteville. An acquaintance called 911 at about 9:35 p.m. after finding Mota unresponsive in a room at the Comfort Inn located at 1922 Skybow Road, a Fayetteville police report said. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Charges were filed after an autopsy at the office of the chief medical examiner in Raleigh determined that Alyssa Moto was the victim of a homicide, the release said. The cause of death was not given. Alyssa Mota was a graduate of Jack Britt High School and the mother of 3 children, the release said. Anyone with information is asked to call Detective D. Franklin at 910-723-4650 or at Crime Stoppers at 910-483-8477 or submit your tip online at fay-nccrimestoppers.org.
Now remember the Thanksgiving Day shooting at the mall? You remember that, Clark?
Yes, I do. What happened?
Well, this makes me very sad because the shooter was a soldier at Fort Bragg.
Oh, no. He was a soldier?
With the 82nd.
Oh, no.
A Fayetteville man was arrested Wednesday in the Thanksgiving Day shooting at the Cross Street Mall parking lot that injured 3 people. Marquise L. Powell, 22, on 4500 block of Westfield Road, is charged with attempted first-degree murder and discharging a weapon into an occupied vehicle, a Fayetteville police release said. Powell is a Fort Bragg soldier and serves in the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne. The shooting happened at midnight after the mall was closed in the area near the food court on the All-American Freeway side of the mall, police said. What is he doing at the mall at midnight?
Probably shopping.
Several people arranged to meet in the parking lot to fight, according to police, but it is not known what prompted the incident. The injured were identified as Jamil R. McMillian, age 24, Trenton T. Powell, 19, and Rachel N. Jones, age 33. It's not known if Marquise Powell and Trenton Powell are related. The bail was set at $100,000. This was written by Nancy McCleary.
The time now is 10:30 in the morning on Thursday, 2017. And this is to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and Nancy, and we are proud to serve you today.
A lesson in goodness. When many of us see our homeless neighbors wandering our city streets, our first instinct is to pull back. Often we feel revulsion, a fear of contacting the person, a threat to our personal safety. Only later does it occur to us, there, but for the grace of God, go I. And then if we do stop and hear their story, we may be surprised. But for one bad turn in life's road, this person could be a successful, productive citizen. Johnny Bobbitt Jr. is living proof. Bobbitt, a Henderson native, is the guy who stopped to help a woman whose car had run out of gas along I-95 near Philadelphia. The homeless man spent the last $20 he had on getting her a container of gasoline. In return, driver Kate McClure created a GoFundMe page for Bobbitt in gratitude for his help. As of this week, the page is closing in on raising $400,000. Its initial goal was $10,000. Turns out Bobbitt was one of those there but for fortune people. The Marine Corps veteran once worked as an emergency room technician for UNC Healthcare. He was a paramedic and firefighter in Warren and Vance counties. He was studying for a nursing certification. He wanted to be a flight nurse. And then it all came crashing down in a hail of drug and money problems. Unlike many of his fellow homeless souls, Bobbitt getting an amazing second chance. And he's already talking about how he'll use the money to help other homeless people. And just by his example, Johnny Bobbitt Jr. is showing a lot of us that human goodness doesn't get lost in homelessness.
And here we have a letter to the Observer. The title is How to Stop Needless Emergency Room Visits. The recent action by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield in limiting coverage for emergency room visits to major medical events such as heart attacks and strokes highlights the need for healthcare providers and insurers to collaborate to find new effective ways to educate the public on the use of emergency rooms. Anthem, the country's second largest insurer, has warned customers in Kentucky, Georgia, and Missouri that they will only cover emergency room visits for life-threatening visits, or the customer will risk footing the bill. The insurer stated it will add other states where it sees a rise in unnecessary emergency room visits. This policy has raised concern that individuals will not seek treatment in a real emergency for fear of being held responsible for payment. For many individuals, It's been customary to go to the emergency room for treatment of minor illnesses based on the convenience of the hospital being open when the patient does not have to miss work or the location of the hospital is easy to access. This pattern of behavior will not change overnight. Patient education is critical. Public service announcements about what the emergency room is used for and what it should and should not be used for will go a long way in generating public awareness. Some hospitals are using telemedicine consults to assist patients. It is incumbent on insurers and providers to take the lead in educating the public on changing these patterns of behavior that have been ingrained in many of us for many years. An educated public will go a long way in decreasing unnecessary emergency room visits. And this letter to the Observer came to us from Mark D. Edwards that lives in Pinehurst. I think that's very important to educate the public about ERs, but some people don't have the money, Nancy.
No, they don't.
So they go to the emergency room. They go to the emergency room. And there you have it.
Okay, so let's move to the sheriff's office to train church leaders for active shooter situations. Now I just put down what you're picking up, and that's an article about what you should buy for some children for Christmas. But I'm reading about the sheriff's office to train church leaders for active shooter situations by Nancy McCleary. Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is offering a class to help church personnel prepare for an active shooter situation, such as the incident earlier this month in Texas, in which 24 worshipers were killed. Class is scheduled Monday at 6:30 p.m. Sergeant Chris Taylor, an instructor in the Sheriff's Office training section, will teach the class, a release said. Taylor is a member of the department's Special Response Team and has taught the course to other faith-based organizations. Those attending the course will learn the tools and best practice tips to get through an active shooter incident, the release said. The class will include information on providing immediate first aid to victims while awaiting the arrival of medical personnel and law enforcement. These type of events are happening not only here in our country but all over the world. So if we can teach our citizens one thing to keep them safe, I think that's very important, Sheriff Enos Wright said in the release. That's why it's so important to us, especially as law enforcement, because we're here to keep the community safe. Class is open to church leaders and security personnel, and seating is limited to 60 people. The course should last about 1.5 hours, and the course is free. It will be held in the Sheriff's Office Training Center at 4710 Corporation Drive off Tom Starling Road. You can call Taylor at 223-3323 for information, and those who are unable to attend Monday's event should contact the Sheriff's Office at 323-1500 for help in planning for future sessions.
And as always, in the news is airborne Gen X is likely, the state says. This was written by Steve Devane, a staff writer for the Fayetteville Observer. The state's Division of Air Quality believes air emissions may have played a role in the increased levels of a potentially harmful compound found in private wells and lakes near a Bladen County plant, a state official said Wednesday. Elevated levels of Gen X also have been detected in a creek near the Chemours plant off North Carolina Highway 87 near the Cumberland County line, according to Sarah Young, a State Department of Environmental Quality spokeswoman. The Chemours plant, a chemical manufacturing company, makes Gen X at that plant. The compound is used to make non-stick coatings on cookware and for other purposes. The state has been investigating Gen X, a compound that has been connected in animal studies to several forms of cancer, since the news broke out in June that high levels of the chemical were discovered in the Cape Fear River by researchers. It is not known whether those effects are the same in human beings. Elevated levels of Gen X have been detected in water from more than 80 private wells around the Chemours plant. High levels of that compound, Gen X, also have been found in 2 lakes in opposite directions from that facility. Based on preliminary analysis, the department's Division of Air Quality believes that air emissions may play a role in results from tests on surface water and groundwater, said Sarah Young, a State Department of Environmental Quality spokeswoman. The division has conducted preliminary atmospheric deposition modeling to identify areas which most likely to have been impacted by Gen X air contaminants in the last 5 years. It is unclear, however, how big of a role air deposition plays in these surface and groundwater findings, said Sarah Young. Now, Sheila Holman, the department's assistant secretary, is expected to provide more information about the potential impact of Gen X air emissions at a meeting of the State House Select Committee on River Quality scheduled for today, the 30th of November. State officials have been investigating airborne emissions of Gen X. Chemours plant has released at least 500 pounds of the compound and similar chemicals in each of the last 5 years, according to state records. About 70 pounds of a precursor to Gen X escaped in the air this month after a leak in the company's vinyl ether manufacturing area. The leak from a condensation tower lasted about 13 hours before the workers at the plant stopped it. 3 samples of water taken from Willis Creek, which is just north of the plant, showed elevated levels of Gen X, said Sarah Young, who is a State Department of Environmental Quality spokeswoman. Tests showed that the water had levels of the compound from 200 parts per trillion to 420 parts per trillion. The state's health goal for Gen X is 140 parts per trillion, so you do the math. Sarah Young said Willis Creek is not a source of drinking water, but what does that matter, Nancy?
Matters a lot.
Yes, it does. And staff writer Steve Devane can be reached at sdevane@fayobserver.com, or you may call Steve Devane and discuss this article with him at 910-486-3572.
Okay, let's go to Leonard Pitts Jr. Journalism is under siege. Go ahead and laugh. It is funny after all. Indeed, it recalls one of those old Warner Brothers cartoons where Willie Coyote gets blown up by the very same Acme dynamite he bought to blast the Roadrunner with. Only this time it's James O'Keefe and his so-called Project Veritas who wind up mutilated and powder burned, holding up a little placard that says, "Ouch." O'Keefe, you might recall, is the darling of Fox News and other outposts of right-wing all-reality who become famous for deceptively editing videos designed to embarrass Democrats, news media, and other bête noirs of conservative extremists. But it's never embarrassed any of his targets as badly as he habitually embarrasses himself. Happened again Monday when the Washington Post unmasked an apparent Project Veritas operative who had tried over the course of 2 years to induce the paper to bite on a false story. Jamie Phillips approached the Post with the sensational claim that Alabama senatorial candidate had accused child molester Roy Moore, got her pregnant and induced her to have an abortion when she was 15. The Post never ran that story. Phillips' scheme was foiled when routine background checks turned up multiple lies, inconsistencies, and red flags. Afterward, Post reporters trailed her to the offices of Project Veritas. The official slogan of the Washington Post is, "Democracy dies in darkness." But just for today, the paper should change that to, "Beep beep," really bad word. Yes, if this is funny, and it is, it's also revealing. These people actually project their scuzzy values and motivations onto the rest of us. Apparently and incredibly, these geniuses thought a responsible news organization would run that cockamamie story without checking the source or caring whether it was true. Likely made sense to them because it's something they would have done. Take it as a superfluous proof. Journalism is under siege. Just days ago, Donald Trump rage tweeted his latest assault on CNN, saying it represents America poorly to the world. The so-called president's attack on a free and independent press prompted this rebuke from former CIA Chief General Michael Hayden. "If this is who we are or who we are becoming," he tweeted, "I have wasted 40 years of my life." That assessment is beyond sad, but these attempts to cripple news media are now an everyday thing. Mid-November, Alabama voters were robocalled by Bernie Bernstein, who claimed to be a Post reporter offering a cash reward for tips damaging to Moore. Bernie Bernstein, should it need saying, does not exist. The thinking behind this campaign to delegitimize journalism could not be more transparent. As the far right has apparently concluded it cannot win elections without suppressing votes, it now seems to have decided it cannot win political debates without suppressing facts. This is an attempted coup against reality itself. What Project Veritas and all the other merchants of mendacity seek is a world without memory, a world where all facts are always in controversy. Nothing is ever truly knowing unless it serves their ideological ends. The people of such a world are manipulable. They believe what you tell them to do and they are anchored by nothing. That's the world some of us already live in. If the rest of us are not minding of our news sources and vigilant of our biases, if we forget to repeatedly ask ourselves how we know the things we know, it'll be our world too, soon enough. For the record, veritas is a Latin word. It means truth. Now, Leonard Pitts Jr. is winner of the 2004 Pulitzer Prize for Commentary. He's a columnist for the Miami Herald. You may write to him via mail at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
And here we have an article about Christmas is a major struggle for a family of 3. Hurricane Matthew damaged the rented mobile home where Tamika and her children lived in Robeson County. It became uninhabitable, so the family is now starting a new life in Cumberland County. Tamika wants to provide a happy Christmas for her 12-year-old daughter and 10-year-old son, but her own health issues make it difficult. She has undergone 12 surgeries in recent years and is on a disability which doesn't leave much for gifts. Her daughter is beginning to experiment with makeup and would love some for Christmas. She wants to wear eyeshadow, Tamikia said. Her son loves playing with model cars and trucks. Remember, he's 10 years old. Both children need twin bedding, including sheets and comforters, pink for her daughter and blue for her son. Clothes, shoes, and coats are welcome too. The girl wears a junior size 14 in pants, shirts, and coats. She wears a women's size 8.5 in shoes. The young man is size 10 pants, 12 or medium in shirts and coats, and 12 in boys' shoes. I appreciate everything, Tamikia said. I'm just praying to find a job for 20 hours a week because that's all I can do. To adopt Tamikia's family through the Salvation Army, call this number. Pull out your pens and pull out your paper. 910-483-8119 and ask for angel number SA, that's Sierra Alpha 147, SA 147. Or you may bring unwrapped gifts to the Salvation Army or the Angel Tree at the Cross Creek Mall by the 9th of December of this year.
All right, now, the Luther Nick Gerald's Middle School is doing something very exciting, so heads up. Their middle school boys wrestling team practiced at their gym earlier this week, and 6th graders in Cumberland County are now able to participate in interscholastic sports. That's right, 6th graders. For the first time in interscholastic sports, the school will add one 6th grader to its wrestling team. This is written by Jacqueline Shumbaugh. She's a staff writer. Inside the gym at Luther Nick Gerald's Middle School, wrestling coach Anthony McCollum ran through the basics. Step by step, he went over footwork, body positioning, and full speed movements, all working toward a takedown. 10 wrestlers lined up on a third of a mat watched and mimicked the movements. If that seems like a small squad, consider that it's more than double the size of last year's team, thanks in part to a new policy allowing 6th graders to participate in middle school athletics, passed early this month by the county school board. It was something that the small middle schools really wanted and pushed. Some of our smaller schools were having a hard time filling middle school sports. Nick Gerald's, with fewer than 500 students, was among that group. School was unable to compete its boys and girls soccer seasons, navigated the wrestling season with just 4 competitors. 6-3 vote. Cumberland County didn't consider the measure for the 2016-17 school year, instead opting to survey the parents of elementary school students, almost 25,000 parents. Of the more than 2,300 who responded, 88% were in favor of opening sports to the 6th graders. Filling the rosters. Matthew Holstein has coached 15 seasons with the boys' basketball team at Max Abbott, a middle school of more than 830 students. Said he typically kept about an even number of 6th graders and 8th graders on his teams in the past, a way to ensure a strong number of experienced players who would return each year. But in a flukish year where just 10 7th graders tried out for the team, Holstein said a huge turnout of 6th grade hopefuls helped him fill out the roster. I did not expect 36 graders to try out, Holstein said. That right there was more than the 7th and 8th graders combined. And not only that, 36 6th graders were more than I had come out for football total. There were 50 kids in the gym at one time. Holstein has 4 6th graders on his team, a 7th grader and 7 8th graders. The 6th graders, even though they're small, they are skilled, Holstein said. Size is the only place where it really might affect them. But they've got some skills in the basketball arena. I was not shocked, but surprised by that. There's no difference for us because we're not adding teams or really even players, so there's not a need for additional coaches, Aldridge said. The only thing that could happen is that maybe some 6th graders might make the team over 7th or 8th graders. Fulmore said trimming rosters and earning playing time is part of the progression as players move from recreation to scholastic sports. One of the biggest things, and we announced it in our parent meeting, is making sure the parents understand this isn't recreation sports, he said. This is a talent-based thing based on the needs of the team. That change doesn't seem to have deterred many students. The students are excited for the opportunity, Fulmore said, and we're looking forward to know how it's going to help our school. Okay, very good. Go 6th graders there at Luke Nick Gerald's Middle School.
Council members debate getting cell phones. This was written by Monica Vendituoli. Some city council members expressed concerns about a request for the city to give cell phones to elected officials. To me, that seems like a perk, and I am not into perks, said Jim Arp. I'm very sensitive to how we spend the taxpayers' money. This is the second time today that we've heard that Jim Arp doesn't like to overspend taxpayers' money.
He's right.
Other members say they are necessary for keeping in line with public record laws and for being more accessible to the public. We are responsible for thousands of people, and the big part of that is being able to do our job on the go, said Councilman Larry Wright. With a cell phone, we will be able to do a better job at communicating. On Tuesday, City Clerk Pamela McGill sent out an email informing elected officials of the decision. Pamela McGill wrote that the city's Information Technologies Department made the request to help the city comply with state public records laws. Mayor-elect Mitch Colvin added that state officials encouraged the city's legal department to push for the change to protect against open records issues. And I'm in support of it, said Mitch Colvin. Jim Arp said that he had requested the city staff to provide him with the cost of the cell phones. A city spokesman, Nathan Walls, said he is unsure of the cost of buying the cell phones and the data plans for those cell phones, as nothing has been approved yet. He added that city council members are currently offered a $30 monthly stipend for using their personal cell phones. Jim Arp said that he was unaware of the stipend and would not use that stipend, as it is taxpayers' money. Jim Arp said he requested that city staff inform the city council of the total cost of those cell phones. Why do we need to give phones to part-time employees, said Jim Arp. I'm just questioning again the cost of providing us with those cell phones that cost lots of money. Councilman Bill Chris said he is against the city providing elected officials to have cell phones because the city council members already have their own personal cell phones. And this, again, was written by Monica Vendituoli. The time now is 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, 30 November 2017. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
I'm going to begin this hour with the obituaries. Okay, the death notices for today. The following deaths have been reported. Please see upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. Cumberland County, Johnny Stevens, age 39, of Fayetteville, formerly of Roseboro, Butler and Son Funeral Home, Roseboro. Amy Roberson, age 88, of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Pauline Oates Pitts, age 76, of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Loyal F. Brigman, age 78, of Fayetteville, Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services of Hope Mills. Henry D. Shaw, age 74, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Retired Sergeant Major Gary Marcus Betterton, age 77, of Fayetteville, Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. Mary A. Monroe, age 73, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. James Thomas, age 74, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Nicaphea Region, Alice F. Little, age 64, of Lillington, Dafford Funeral Home in Dunn. Carnell Laverne Curry, of Fairmont Hills Funeral Home. Charles L. Rocks, from Rayford. Mr. Charles L. Rocks, age 51, of 261 Ivystone Drive, Rayford, North Carolina, departed this life on Saturday, November 25, 2017. Funeral services will be held on Saturday, December 2nd. Wiseman Mortuary. John Pap Walter Bowie, Jr. Hope Mills, formerly of Roseboro. John Pap Walter Bowie, Jr., 66, of Hope Mills, formerly of Roseboro. Died Monday, November 7th, 2017. Carter Funeral Home. Donald H. Damon is from the region and elsewhere. Sanford, U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer, retired. Donald Harry Damon, age 83, of Sanford, made the ultimate journey to be with his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on November 27, 2017, at his residence after an 8-year battle with cancer. A funeral service will be conducted on Friday, December 1st at Swan Station Baptist Church. The family will receive friends from 12 to 1 p.m. in the church sanctuary. The funeral ceremony will follow the visitation at 1 p.m. with Reverend Russell Blackman officiating. Burial will follow in the Cameron Grove Swan Station Baptist Church Cemetery. Memorial contributions may be made to the Swan Station Baptist Church Women's Missionary Union or the SSBC Baptist Men at 7592 Highway 87, South Sanford. Miller Bowles Funeral Home is serving the family. Ruby Mae McCoy Fuller from Lillington. Ruby Mae McCoy Fuller, age 81, of Lillington, died Sunday, November 26, 2017. The funeral will be Saturday at 2 p.m. Walker Memorial Funeral Home Chapel, Lillington. Andrew Scott Quintini from Rayford. Andrew Scott Quintini, 20, died Thursday, November 23, 2017. Memorial will be Sunday, 2:30 p.m. The Heart of Texas Event Center, Brady, Texas. Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Milton Singletary, Ocean Isle Beach, formerly Elizabethtown. Milton Singletary, age 79, of Ocean Isle Beach, formerly of Elizabethtown, died Monday, November 27, 2017. Graveside, Friday at 2 p.m. Elizabethtown City Cemetery, Bladen, Gaskins. Mildred Joyce Drahon Baggett from Godwin. Mildred Joyce Drahon Baggett, age 82, of Godwin, died Tuesday, November 28, 2017. Funeral will be Friday at 2 p.m. Baptist Chapel Church. Visitation Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The burial will be Baptist Chapel Church, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Susan Libby Stanton of Wilmington. Susan Libby Stanton, age 57, of Wilmington, died Sunday, November 19, 2017. The funeral will be Sunday at 2 p.m. Floyd Memorial Chapel in Lumberton. Visitation prior to the service, Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. Online condolences may be made by visiting www.floydmortuary.net. Ernest Marlowe Jr. from Elizabethtown. Ernest Marlowe Jr., age 63, of Elizabethtown, died Wednesday, November 22, 2017. The funeral will be Saturday at 1 p.m. F.W. Newton Funeral Chapel, Elizabethtown. The viewing will be at F.W. Newton Funeral Chapel, Saturday, noon to 1 p.m. Burial will be at Jones Cemetery, Rico Road, Clarkton. White Lee Hamilton from Godwin. White Lee Hamilton, 92, of Godwin, died Tuesday, November 28, 2017. Funeral will be Friday at noon. Weston Dunn Funeral at Home Chapel, Newton Grove. Visitation at the funeral home, Friday, 11 to noon. The burial will be at Hillcrest Crematory Cemetery, Weston Dunn Funeral Home, Newton Grove. And Herbert Johnson from Elizabethtown. Herbert Johnson, age 88, of Elizabethtown, died Sunday, November 26, 2017. The funeral will be Saturday at 1 p.m. St. Rest Holiness Church, Elizabethtown. F.W. Newton and Sons Mortuary, Elizabethtown.
And the final obituary in Cumberland County. Bonnie Cole Hawkins, age 79, of Hope Mills, died Saturday, 25 November 2017 at the Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. She was born in Cumberland County and was the daughter of the late Selden and Grace Campbell Cole. A memorial service will be held at 2 p.m. Friday, 1 December 2017 at Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services in Hope Mills. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to the service. Condolences may be left at pinecrestfuneralservices@hotmail.com.
Going to Billy Graham. With God, you're never alone. Billy Graham. Question: I've always thought it would be exciting to live in a big city. After I graduated last year, I took a job in one, but I never realized how lonely I'd be. I can't afford to go home for Christmas this year, but I hate the idea of sitting alone in my apartment. Is God telling me I ought to quit my job and move back home? From AJ. Answer: you've discovered what countless people before you realize the city can be a very lonely place. I often think of the paralyzed man who couldn't find anyone in the entire city of Jerusalem to help him until Jesus came along and healed him. See the book of John chapter 5 verses 1 through 9. I don't know if you made a mistake by moving to the city, but God knows your situation, and the most important thing you can do is seek His will for your fortune, your future. He loves you and He knows what is best for you, even if you didn't look to Him for guidance before. I urge you to do so now. If you've never asked Jesus Christ to come into your life, open your heart and life to Him today. God's promise is for you. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. From the book of Proverbs chapter 3 verse 6. In the meantime, however, take steps to overcome your loneliness. What can you do? First, seek out a church where you can meet others your age and also grow in your faith. An active church may offer opportunities for you to get involved with others in community service projects. Don't, however, seek to overcome your loneliness in wrong ways or in wrong places, as many do. Remember, God loves you, and when we know Christ, we are never alone. Readers, you can write to the Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina. Or you can call him at 877-2-GRAHAM. The website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org. This is by the Tribune Media Services.
And now we have Dear Abby. The title of this is A Woman's Marriage Deadline May Be Working Against Her. Dear Abby, I am a 27-year-old woman who cannot seem to find a man to call her own. Every time I search on websites or at the gymnasiums, I cannot find anyone decent enough for me who lives nearby. Now, let me tell you that I met someone who took me to his house in Wisconsin for the holidays, but I live in Illinois. Ever since I slept with him, and oh, by the way, Abby, that was after the 5th date, he has come here less and less often. And when he does, it's never just to see me, just to get a quickie. He also texts me less often than he did, and has hinted to me that I should see other people here in my own hometown and just keep him as a backup. I'm desperate to find someone who will be there just for me. I want to be married before my 30th birthday. Remember, Abby, I'm 27. I have tried everything, but all the decent men nowadays are already taken or not serious about forming a relationship with a decent woman. Dear Abby, I hope you can help me. Signed, I cannot find a man. Dear, I cannot find a man. Your problem may be your desperation. When people are desperate, their anxiety can drive people away. It comes to the surface for everyone to see. The idea that you must be married by the time you are 30 years old is setting an artificial and possibly unrealistic goal for yourself. It just may be time to stop looking and begin concentrating on building a satisfying life for yourself without help from a partner. Once you accomplish that, you may find that both men and women will find you more attractive to be around. Now, I cannot guarantee that it will help you to find a husband, but even if you don't, you will have gained a happier life. Not everyone needs to be married. Dear Abby, I have twin grandsons. One is kind and mannerly and thoughtful. The other is rude, ungrateful, and has a chip on his shoulder. Nancy, doesn't that sound like that old childhood magazine from Highlights where Gallant and Goofus cartoons were in there? Remember that, Gallant and Goofus?
I remember.
Yes, that's who this sounds like. And every Christmas and every birthday, my husband and I are generous with our gifts to them. One grandson thanks us, while the other does not even acknowledge the gift that we have given him. I no longer want to continue giving the rude twin a gift, but I do not know if this is the way to deal with his problem. They will be 18 on their next birthday. My daughter has never corrected this problem, and I know she will accuse me of favoring the kind and gentle, considerate twin. What do I do? Signed, Granny in South Carolina. Dear Granny in South Carolina, if it were me, I'd give the grateful twin gifts worth the usual amount of money, and the ungrateful twin one a token present. And when your daughter accuses you of favoritism, tell her she is absolutely right, and also why you no longer felt inclined to shell out your cash to someone who didn't think your generosity was worth acknowledging. And tell her that it's the truth, and if she can't handle the truth, do just exactly what I suggest. Dear Abby, I am 53 years old and I constantly worry about the future. Because my husband has had to change jobs for various reasons, we have absolutely a no money fund for retirement, and it isn't offered at his current job. I worry so much about the future that it's keeping me from enjoying the present day. How can I stop worrying like this so I can just enjoy living in the present? Talking to a doctor is not an option, as money is very tight. Signed, Worrying Too Much About Money. Dear Worrying Too Much About Money, you did not mention whether you are currently employed. Well, if you aren't, a way to fix your problem might be start thinking about getting your own earning capacity and find a job so you can build a retirement fund with you and your husband. Just remember, it is never too late to start. Readers, you can write Dear Abby at dearabby.com, or you can mail her a letter and use a forever stamp on that envelope by writing to Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
And are you ready for the horoscope? Remember, we all have one. This is written by Stella Wilder. The horoscope for Thursday, November 30th, 2017. If you're born today, you enjoy an adventure as much as anyone, and yet you always insist on doing more homework, engaging in more preparation, and weighing the pros and cons of a given proposition far more than anyone else. Because of that, you are likely to enjoy more success than most others as well. Sagittarius, come on Saggy, November 22nd to December 21st. You are fully aware of tradition, but you are much more interested in breaking with that right now and experimenting. Capricorn, December 22nd, January 19th. Cappy, you'll be pitted against no one but yourself today, as you are put in a position to face a certain fear. You can come out on top. Aquarius, January 20th to February 18th. Aquarius, you have a secret weapon that is ready for use. But are you sure now is the time? You may want to wait. Take a softer approach. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. You are seeking something to make things easier for you overall. But are you perhaps overreaching? Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Anyone who is expecting you to roll over at the slightest hint of trouble doesn't know you well. You're ready to put up a fight. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Practice doesn't always seem perfect, but that doesn't mean that it can't make things better, and that's worth a lot today. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Gemini, something that snuck up on you recently can be set aside today, perhaps permanently, but you have to break through barriers. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. A loved one may prove too hot to handle for a while today, but later on you should be able to get what you want after a little effort. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. An error made long ago is perhaps catching up with you at this time, causing you to see things from an unstable point of view. Plant those feet. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. You're in no mood to be told what to do, but you're also not likely to come up with a plan yourself. How can you resolve this? Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. You are waiting to hear from someone who will need your help later in the day, but he or she isn't operating according to your timeline. And last but not least is Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Scorpio, changing the circumstances have you considering an option that never seemed attractive to you until now. There are more surprises in there.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It is tongue twister time from the People's Pharmacy, brought to you by Joe and Teresa Graydon. Drugs for pain, drugs for depression, add up to a dangerous cocktail. Question: I have been taking tramadol, amitriptyline, and sertraline for more than 3 years. I was having a hard time with my depression and told my doctor that I was getting worse. My doctor increased the dose of sertraline from 100 milligrams to 150 milligrams. And 5 days later, I had a seizure. Nobody could understand why. My electrolytes were abnormal, so I went back to see the doctor a few weeks later and asked if the increased dosage could have been the cause of my seizure. My doctor dismissed that idea, but since then I have seen 2 other doctors who both expressed concern about this combination of drugs. One of them said it could be a lethal cocktail, and the combination could well have caused your seizure. I feel as if I've been misled by someone that I trust, my personal doctor. I would be grateful for your opinion, Joe and Teresa. Answer: the pain reliever tramadol and the SSRI type antidepressant, in which SSRI means selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, could interact to trigger serotonin syndrome. Excessive levels of the neurochemical serotonin can lead to agitation, can lead to confusion, and can lead to muscle twitches, tremor, sweating, and seizures. Adding Amitriptyline makes this combination even more hazardous. Electrolytes can also be disrupted with this dangerous cocktail. Question. My doctor says that I need to take vitamin D3 with fat, such as whole milk or an avocado, so that my body can properly absorb the vitamin. Apparently, vitamin D is best absorbed with a moderate amount of fat compared with no fat or lots of fat. Answer. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. Nutritionists have long advised people to take such nutrients with a meal that contains fat to enhance absorption. Vitamin D is a bit more complicated, though. Factors that might influence absorption include the form of the vitamin D2 compared with vitamin D3, as well as the type of meal and the amount of fat in the meal. A review of the research found, however, that none of these matters very much. One study that tested the amount of fat in the meal compared absorption of vitamin D taken with a high-fat meal, a low-fat meal, or no meal. Absorption was highest when the supplement was taken with a low-fat meal. To learn more about this crucial nutrient, you may wish to read our guide to vitamin D deficiency. Anyone who would like a copy, please send us $3 in a check or money order with a long number 10 envelope stamped with 70 cents and have it self-addressed to Graydon's People Pharmacy, number D-23, Post Office Box 52027, Durham, North Carolina 27717-2027. And you can also download this handy little guide to vitamin D from our website for the low cost of $2 at www.peoplespharmacy.com. Remember, it is a guide to vitamin D deficiency. Pardon me. And the last final question is, I am writing to thank you for recommending nasal crom for allergies. I had never heard of it before, despite having allergies for over 40 years of my life. Well, last season was especially bad for me, with several laryngitises that started at the end of March. I was not able to speak in my normal voice until I started using nasal crom. This, from now on, is going to be a staple in my house from now on. Answer. Cromolyn, or nasal crom, stabilizes mast cells in the upper respiratory tract. These cells release histamine and other irritating chemicals in response to allergens. And guess what? We are glad you had such a good response to this nasal spray, nasal crom. If you would like more information from Joe and Teresa Graydon, you can write them via their website at peoplespharmacy.com.
Now this is very exciting to me. If you love to look up into the sky at night and look at the universe in the beautiful by the moon, meteors and a big moon in December. The writer of this article is Johnny Horn. As the year winds down, there are a couple of noteworthy night sky attractions playing out before Christmas. Neither rise to the spectacle of 2017's signature astronomical event, the total solar eclipse on August 21st, but one does involve the same body that blotted out the sun on that day. If you have a calendar, you might want to write this down. On December 3rd, we're going to have a super moon. The Farmer's Almanac calls the December full moon the cold moon, due to low temps this time of year. This December's moon also can be called one of the biggest and brightest of the year, something that qualifies these days as a super moon. It will be a little bigger and brighter because it will be rather close to us. Rather than orbit Earth in a perfect circle, the moon's orbit is elliptical or egg-shaped. That means at some point in its orbit, the moon can be as much as 30,000 miles closer to us than when it is most distant. When the full moon is near perigee, or its closest point to Earth, we can have a super moon, and that's what we will see on December 3rd. A close full moon can appear about 12% to 14% bigger than the most distant moon. The moon is actually closest to us at 3:45 a.m. on the morning of December 4th, even though the exact moment of the full moon will come before moonrise at 10:48 a.m. on the morning of December 3rd. In December of this year, the moment of full moon and its closest point are separated by several hours. At its closest point, December's full moon will be some 220,000 miles from us. By the time the moon is most distant from us in its orbit in December, it will be 651 miles away on December 18th. Now, if we're given clear skies, we can watch the December 3rd full moon rise over Fayetteville at 5:32 p.m. Even though the exact moment of the full moon will come before moonrise at 10:48 a.m. that morning. The December full moon also rises very far to the north of due east. It's the most northerly rising full moon of the year and tracks highest across the sky during the night. The moon sets the next morning over in the northwest at 7:57 a.m. Geminid meteor shower. It's good that the moon is big and bright early in December, because on the night of December 13th, the Geminid meteor shower will play out in a moonless sky. The last thing we need when observing meteors is a bright moon to hinder our seeing them. A waning crescent moon will appear after about 3:30 a.m. on the morning of December 14th. But the Geminid meteor shower is one of the few good meteor showers that is active in the early evening when there will be a moonless sky. The August Perseid meteors put on a strong show too, but the Perseids are an after midnight show. Geminid meteors are little bits of rock and dust in orbit around the sun, and each year around December 13th, the Earth's orbit crosses the stream of particles. The bits of rock hit our atmosphere so fast that they burn up instantly, producing a flash of light. The Geminids have produced some very bright meteors that appear a little slower moving than some other meteor showers. The key to having a rewarding meteor shower experience is watching from a dark, rural location with an unobstructed sky in all directions. It probably goes without saying that you should be constantly watching the sky and dress warmly. Glancing down for an instant can mean missing a nice meteor. Satisfy these ideal dark, rural conditions under a clear sky far from city lights. You may see an average of a meteor a minute, late on the night of December 13th. If you watch from the city and stroll outside, and look up for a few minutes. You'll be lucky if you see any meteors. Gemini meteors are named for the constellation Gemini, from where the meteors appear to radiate, but the meteors may appear anywhere in the sky. The winter begins. Although it isn't as observable as the full moon or swift meteors, the winter solstice happens on December 21st, when the sun reaches its southernmost point in our sky at 11:28 a.m. It's the shortest day and longest night of 2017. Folks south of the equator celebrate the first day of summer. If you have a question about astronomy, send it to Backyard Universe, P.O. Box 297, Stedman, North Carolina 28391, or you can email jhorn@fayeobserver.com.
So Nancy, are we going to get up at 3:45 in the morning to look at the supermoon?
Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's set the alarms and see what it looks like.
All right.
That's
go.
Sunday, right?
Yep.
They would have said 3:45 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm going to keep this.
Yeah, keep that little article. The time now is 11:36 in the morning on Thursday, 30 November 2017. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University. And our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. And if you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. And to remind you that your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today. And here's a little article from Byron B. Pitts of the Fayetteville Observer. He says that a new committee hopes to educate and prevent hate. Hate wears many faces. It is the distorted face of a 36-year-old man, an Army reservist who made death threats to worshipers at a Hope County mosque in June of 2016. He threatened to run over someone with his car and aimed a gun at a worshiper. He later pled guilty on federal charges of obstructing the free exercise of religion and was sentenced to home confinement for a mere 8 months. Hate also wears the hood of the Ku Klux Klan, which last month passed out recruiting flyers in the parking lot at Grays Creek High School football game. Hate, which is rooted in fear, is hard to quantify, but the State Human Relations Commission tries. It keeps an updated report of hate incidents and crimes from across the state and makes the data available to local human relations commissions. The commission in Fayetteville and Cumberland County receives that data as well as reports from local law enforcement. But the commission wants to get beyond the data and get to change. Members of its new Hate Crimes Committee acknowledged on Tuesday evening that it will not be easy. It will take time and help from the folks in our community. I sat on their meeting held at the Festival Park Plaza in downtown Fayetteville, and the committee chair, Ngozi Kamulu, a political science professor at Fayetteville State University, FSU, passed around research he had done into what he called the dynamics of hate crime. He summed up the U.S. Department of Justice's definition as crimes motivated by animus based on race, color, national origin, religion, gender identity, or disability. Ngozi Kamulu said research showed that crimes functioned as a kind of symbol for the perpetrators, example, their way of resisting new immigrants or others who differ from them. It is a way of telling the target that we don't want you here. He distributed a sheet with 3 pillars for addressing hate crimes: prevention, intervention, and engagement, with the acronym PIE or PI. That's prevention, intervention, and engagement. Part of the engagement means committee members going out and giving short presentations to organizations explaining just what constitutes a hate crime, said Sheila Cuffey, head of the Human Relations Commission. The committee would coordinate with Community Conversations, which is a series of forums involving partners that includes the commission. Sheila Cuffey said a different subcommittee, the Crisis Response Team, would lead intervention efforts. That team has not been formed yet, she said, but added that Fayetteville Police Chief Gina Hawkins and Cumberland County Sheriff Enos Wright were supportive of the idea. Management in city and county governments are also on board. The response team would be the boots on the ground in responding to a situation like Charlottesville, Virginia, where in August a white power rally resulted in the death of a counter-protester. Sheila Cuffey said the team should involve different types of leaders in addition to ones from the church, from social organizations, and public safety officials. There are young people out there that we would definitely love to be a part of this, said Sheila Cuffey. Some of your best leaders are your informal leaders. It's that guy who's on the corner of the Merc who knows everybody, and that's a person I would like to be able to have at the table. Jimmy Buxton, president of the local chapter of the NAACP, attended the Hate Crimes Committee meeting and said he would volunteer his members to take part. Jimmy Buxton said hateful responses to his office on Murchison Road have skyrocketed since the election in 2008 of Barack Obama as the nation's first black president. One letter criticizing black leaders included human feces, said Jimmy Buxton, and it was reported to the FBI. Another time, Jimmy Buxton said, a caller filled the voicemail by saying the N-word over and over and over again. Yet another caller threatened to burn down our office. However, most of them are cowards, said Jimmy Buxton, president of the local chapter of the NAACP. But Jimmy Buxton believes starting a dialogue is a first step in preventing hate crimes and shining a light on it. I am happy to see this conversation going on, said Jimmy Buxton, president of the local chapter of the NAACP. If you would like to discuss this article with columnist Myron B. Pitts of the Fayetteville Observer, you may email him at mpitts@fayobserver.com, or you can give him a personal call by calling this number. Get your pencils and paper. Here it is, 910-486-3559.
All right, everybody, we all need to pay attention for this. We've got to find this little girl, and we can do it if we all start looking. The search for missing 3-year-old. This is a little 3-year-old girl. Her name is Mariah Woods, and the search continues by the law enforcement locally, military personnel, and you and I and other concerned citizens and friends of the family, Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. This comes from the Jacksonville Daily News by Amanda Thames and Mike McHugh. The numbers are beginning to add up, but what's not registering is the whereabouts of Mariah K. Woods. As the investigation and search for the 3-year-old girl moved through its third day, Onslow County Sheriff Hans Miller and Federal Bureau of Investigation Senior Supervisor Agent Stanley Mador held their second press conference. We're in our third day of our investigation and search for the little girl, and we want to find her and bring her home, Miller said. Miller said more than 225 investigators are working around the clock and have followed through on more than 140 leads and have conducted more than 100 interviews since the child was reported missing Monday morning from her Dawson Cabot Road home by her mom, Christy Woods. Mariah, the youngest of 3 children, living with their mother, Christy Woods, and her boyfriend, Earl Kimmery, went missing on November 27th, shortly after 6 a.m. We're talking to them, and they're talking to us, Miller said, of Christy Woods and Kimmery. Miller further reported that hundreds of acres on foot, in the air and with dogs have been searched. Officials stressed that residents in the Southwest and Verona areas should please search their properties as a way to help find Mariah Woods. At this point, priority number 1 is finding Mariah, Meador said. Meador also asked the public's assistance for specific information. If anyone had contact with the family on Sunday, to please contact the sheriff's office at, ready, please write this down, 910-455-3113, so that we can put together a specific timeline, Meador said. Mariah Woods is described as a white girl, approximately 2 feet 9 inches tall, and weighing about 30 pounds, according to the Amber Alert regarding her disappearance. The alert also states she has brown hair and blue eyes and was wearing pink and white panties. She was last seen in the area of 2405-7 Dawson Cabin Road in Jacksonville, according to the alert. Meador said behind the scenes, there are hundreds of investigators helping those searching for Mariah, and that it would not be right for authorities to divulge every effort, since it would not help efforts to find the girl. On Wednesday, authorities were observed searching many locations within a few miles of the family's home. Law enforcement blocked off a section of High Hill Road from traffic and searched a creek, but were unable to go into specifics, according to FBI public information official Shelley Lynch. Shortly after 1 p.m., authorities were at a small tributary which flows into Southwest Creek. Elements from the Onslow County Sheriff's Office
Naval Criminal Investigative Service and the Onslow County Emergency Services dive team spent more than an hour searching the waters of Troublesome Creek, but searchers found nothing. High Hill Road is a 3-mile stretch of state roadway connecting US 17 and Dawson Cabin Road, and near the Inez Mobile Home Park on Dawson Cabin Road, in which Mariah lives. Throughout the day Wednesday, busloads of Marines deployed from the command post on Dawson Cabin Road to different areas in which to conduct foot searches. Investigators stayed at the Woods residence, with some seen wearing white hazardous material jumpsuits, peering and crawling beneath the home, as well as other nearby dwellings. Lynch reiterated that anyone who saw 3-year-old Mariah Woods or her family recently should please reach out, because one of the things they're trying to figure out is if anyone saw Mariah on Sunday other than her mother and her mother's live-in boyfriend. It's important to have all the information they can so that we can come up with a more detailed timeline, Lynch said. Obviously, a detailed timeline is crucial. An Onslow County Sheriff's Office crime scene investigator wearing a hazmat suit crawled underneath Mariah's home and the home next door, but nothing was brought out from underneath. The law enforcement officers then walked door to door, knocking and talking to neighbors. One neighbor, Kelly Kerr, allowed agents to examine the area beneath her rental property after she and other residents in the home heard a loud sound emanating from their home late Sunday night. It sounded like something hitting a piece of wood real hard, said Kyle Bonitz, who shares the home with Carr. Shortly before noon, a single-engine John boat joined the arsenal of tools being utilized in the search of the missing 3-year-old girl. The terrain near the home of the Woods family is dotted with wetlands and small ponds. We all want to find her. We want to find her safe and sound, Lynch said. Miller said more dogs were also being added to the search, but would not elaborate on what kind of dogs. I don't want to go there, Miller said.
Well, I certainly hope authorities find that little girl.
Me too.
It's terrible.
And right around Christmas. For
right around, that's a horrible thing to think about. But I'd like to share with you a cheer and jeer. Here is a shout out to the often maligned U.S. Postal Service. It still amazes me that a piece of paper is dropped into a metal box at my home with a little red flag and shows up in Seattle, Washington 2 days later for the mere cost of 49 cents. In the 1800s, a letter from New York to Florida cost, according to history, $5 to $9 to send a letter. That's amazing. I have never, to my knowledge, lost a letter in the mail. However, I'd like to say that the incoming bills are especially on time. Well, I wonder why.
Why?
You never lose a bill, do you?
Nope.
Oh, never. With the cutbacks, the workers are very busy and they work long hours. My experience at the counter has been one of excellent attitudes and helpful demeanors. They provide a service to all citizens. Some entities need government subsidies, such as trains and the post office. They were never designed to turn a profit. Well, I wonder if that's accurate. However, Dan Dederick of Fayetteville wrote us this cheer to the post office.
All right, and this is a little far away, but nonetheless, it's interesting for everyone who likes chocolate like me. Pinehurst is having a chocolate festival. That means everyone's going to be doing an involvement into it. From Pinehurst, a charity chocolate festival is scheduled for February 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Pinehurst United Methodist Church, 4111 Airport Road. The festival will feature a cupcake competition, candy-making demonstrations by culinary arts students at Sand Hills Community College, a donut bar, and a gift boutique. Proceeds from the event will benefit the More Free and Charitable Clinic, the Bethany House and Prancing Horse Center for Therapeutic Horsemanship. Admission for this chocolate festival is going to be free. So if you would like for more details, write down and call 215-0557, or you can go to pinehumoroustomachc.org for details. This was written by Roger Mullen.
3 local men were charged in a Hope County theft. This was written by Beth Hudson, who is the digital editor for the Fayetteville Observer. In Rayford, 3 Fayetteville residents have been arrested in Hope County on larceny charges, the Hope County Sheriff's Office said. Deputies conducting neighborhood security checks on Wedgefield 2 subdivision in Rayford at about 3:30 a.m. Tuesday located a budget rental truck that was occupied by 2 men and a woman, the release said. Deputies discovered construction materials in the back of the truck, which they determined to be from a nearby construction site. Shaquana Godfrey, age 21, and Eric Dunstan, age 47, both of the 6200 block of Penfield Drive in Fayetteville, and Robert Sanders, age 32, of the 600 block of Woodburn Drive in Fayetteville, were arrested and taken to the Hope County Detention Center under $10,000 secured bond, the release said. The 3 are charged with larceny from a construction site and felony conspiracy, the release said. A forum seeks word on the next school's superintendent. People with suggestions on the qualities and characteristics they want in the Cumberland County Schools' next superintendent are invited to attend a public forum tonight. The Cumberland County Board of Education is holding the forum from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the auditorium of the Educational Resource Center located at 396 Elementary Drive in Fayetteville. Comments are also being taken online at ccs.k12.nc.us/ccs-next-superintendent-tell-us-what-you-think/. The surveys may be filled out no later than December 4th. The results are to be presented at the December 12th meeting of the Board of Education. The Board of Education is looking for a new superintendent to replace Frank Till, who left office in June when the board decided to buy out the last year of his contract. I would like to say that this concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
At 2 p.m., please listen to the Southern Pines Pilot. At 4 p.m., you can hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. Thank you for tuning us in. We have enjoyed being with you this morning, and we wish you a wonderful day. And don't forget to look at the supermoon tonight, for December.